Jesus told them, "This very night you will all fall away on account of me. For it is written, I will strike the shepherd, and the sheep of the flock will be scattered." But Peter replied,
"Even if all fall away on account of you, I never will.
"Truly I tell you, this very night before the rooster crows, you will disown me 3 times.
Even if I have to die with you, I will never disown you."
And all the other disciples said the same.
Then Jesus went with his disciples to a place called Gethsemane, and he said to them, "Sit here while I go over there and pray." Going a little farther, he fell with his face to the ground and prayed, "Father, if it is possible, may this cup be taken from me. Yet not as I will, but your will be done." He returned to his disciples and found them sleeping. "Couldn't you men stay awake and watch with me for 1 hour? Watch and pray so that you will not fall into temptation. Look, the hour is come, and the Son of Man is delivered into the hands of sinners." While he was still speaking, Judas, one of the 12, arrived. With him was a large crowd armed with swords and clubs, sent from the chief priest and the elders of the people. Now the betrayer had arranged a signal with them.
"The one I kiss is the man. Arrest him." And then I went to Jesus.
Jesus looked at his friend and told him to go ahead and do what he had come to do.
"Greetings, Rabbi," I said, and then I kissed him.
Then the men stepped forward, seized Jesus, and arrested him.
With that, I reached for my sword. I drew it, and I struck the servant of the high priest. I cut off his ear.
Jesus said to him, "Put your sword back in its place, for all who draw the sword will die by the sword. Do you think I cannot call on my Father in heaven, and he will at once put at my disposal more than 12 legions of angels? But how then would the scriptures be fulfilled that say it must happen in this way?" In that hour, Jesus said to the crowd, "Am I leading a rebellion that you have come out with swords and clubs to capture me? Every day I sat in the temple courts teaching, and you did not arrest me. But this has all taken place that the writings of the prophets might be fulfilled."
Then all the disciples deserted him and fled.
Those who had arrested Jesus brought him to Caiaphas, the high priest. I was among an assembly of teachers of the law and elders.
I followed Jesus at a distance, right up to the courtyard of the high priest. I entered and sat down with the guards. I wanted to see what would happen.
The whole Sanhedrin was looking for evidence against Jesus. They needed that evidence to put him to death. Many false witnesses came forward. Finally, 2 men stepped forward and shared what sounded like a preposterous claim.
This fellow said, "I am able to destroy the temple of God and rebuild it in 3 days."
I rose to my feet and asked this Jesus, "Are you not going to answer? What is this testimony that these men are bringing against you?" But he remained silent. So I said to him, "I charge you under oath by the living God. Tell us if you are the Messiah, the Son of God."
Jesus replied, "You have said so. But I say to all of you, from now on you will see the Son of Man sitting at the right hand of the Mighty One and coming on the clouds of heaven."
"He has spoken blasphemy," I said, and then tore my clothes. "Why do we need any more witnesses? Look now, you have heard the blasphemy. What do you think?"
He is worthy of death. We spit in his face and hit him with our fists. Some of us slapped him. Prophesy to us, Messiah. Tell us, who hit you?
I was sitting out in the courtyard. A servant girl came up to me.
You also were with Jesus of Galilee?
I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't want to be there. I went out to the gateway, but another servant girl came up to me.
She spoke to the people there.
This fellow was with Jesus of Nazareth.
I don't know the man. I swear to you.
Surely you are one of them. Your accent gives you away.
I began to curse and I swore to them. I don't know the man. Right after I spoke, the rooster crowed. And it happened just as he said that it would. He told me, before the rooster crows, you will disown me 3 times.
And Peter went outside and wept bitterly.
Early in the morning, all the chief priests and the elders of the people made plans about how Jesus would be executed. We bound him, led him away, and handed him over to Pilate, the governor.
When Judas, who had betrayed him, saw that Jesus was condemned, he was seized with remorse.
Here, take back your 3 pieces of silver. I have sinned, for I have betrayed innocent blood.
We couldn't use them, for it would be against the law to put them into the treasury. Those coins are blood money.
I threw the money into the temple and left. I ran far away.
Judas went away and hanged himself.
We decided to use the money to buy the potter's field as a burial place for foreigners. To this day, it is called the Field of Blood.
What was spoken by the prophet Jeremiah was fulfilled. They took the 30 pieces of silver, the price set on him by the people of Israel, and they bought a potter's field. Meanwhile, Jesus stood before Pilate, the governor, and the governor asked him,
"Are you the king of the Jews?"
"You have said so," Jesus replied.
When he was accused by the chief priests and the elders, he gave no answer.
I asked him, "Don't you hear the testimony that they are bringing against you?" But to my great amazement, Jesus made no reply, not even to a single charge. Now, it was custom at the festival to release a prisoner chosen by the crowd. At that time, there was a well-known prisoner whose name was Jesus Barabbas. So when the crowd had gathered, I asked them, "Which of them do you want me to release to you? Jesus Barabbas or Jesus, who is the Messiah?" For I knew it was out of self-interest that they had handed Jesus over to him. While I was sitting at the judge's seat, my wife sent me this message: "Don't have anything to do with that innocent man, for I have suffered a great deal in a dream because of him."
But the chief priests and the elders persuaded the crowd to ask for Barabbas and to have Jesus executed.
"Which of the 2 do you want me to release to you?"
We call for Barabbas. Barabbas, Barabbas, Barabbas.
"What shall I do with Jesus who is called the Messiah?"
We shouted, "Crucify him!"
"What crime has he committed?"
We shouted all the louder, "Crucify him! Crucify him!"
I saw an uproar was starting. I took water, washed my hands in front of the crowd, and said, "I am innocent of this man's blood. It is your responsibility."
We told Pilate, "His blood is on us and on our children."
I released Barabbas to them. I had Jesus flogged, and then I handed him over to be crucified. Soldiers took Jesus into the praetorium and gathered the whole company around him. They stripped him and put a scarlet robe on him. Then they twisted together a crown of thorns and sat it upon his head. and then they put a staff in his right hand.
And then they knelt in front of him and mocked him.
Hail, King of Zion!
They spit on him, and they took the staff and struck him in the head again and again. After they had mocked him, they took off his robe and put on his own clothes back onto him. Then they led him away to be crucified.
As they were going out, they met a man from Cyrene named Simon, and they forced him to carry the cross. They came to a place called Golgotha, which means the place of the skull. There they offered Jesus wine to drink mixed with gall, but after tasting it, he refused to drink it. When they had crucified him, they divided up his clothes by casting lots. And sitting down, they kept watch over him there. Above his head, they placed this written charge against him. This is Jesus, King of the Jews. 2 rebels were crucified with him there, one on the left and one on the right. Those who passed by hurled insults at him, shaking their heads and saying,
You who are going to destroy the temple and build it in 3 days, save yourself! Come down from the cross if you are the Son of God.
In the same way, the chief priests, the teachers of the law, and the elders mocked him.
He saved others, but he can't save himself. He's the King of Israel. Let him come down now from the cross, and we will believe him. He trusts in God. Let God rescue him now if he wants him. For he said, I am the Son of God.
In the same way, the rebels who were crucified with him also heaped insults onto him.
From noon until 3 in the afternoon, darkness came over all the land. About 3 in the afternoon, Jesus cried out in a loud voice, Eloi, Eloi, lama sabachthani, which means, my God, why hast thou forsaken me? When some of them standing there heard this, they said,
He's calling Elijah.
Immediately one of them ran and got a sponge. He filled it with wine vinegar, put it on a staff, and offered it to Jesus to drink. The rest of them said,
Now leave him alone. Let's see if Elijah comes to save him.
And when Jesus cried out again in a loud voice, he gave up his spirit. At that moment, the curtain of the temple was torn in two from top to bottom. The earth shook, the rocks trembled, and the tombs broke open. The bodies of many holy people who had died were raised to life. They came out of the tombs after Jesus' resurrection, and they went into the holy city, and they appeared to many people.
When the centurion and those with him who were guarding Jesus saw the earthquake and all that had happened, they were terrified. Surely he was the Son of God.
Many women were there, watching from a distance. They had followed Jesus from Galilee to care for his needs. Among them were Mary Magdalene, Mary, the mother of James and Joseph, and the mother of Zebedee's son.
As evening approached, there came a rich man from Arimathea named Joseph, who himself had become a disciple of Jesus. Going to Pilate, he asked for Jesus' body, and Pilate ordered that it be given to him. Joseph took the body, wrapped it in a clean linen cloth, and placed it in his own new tomb that he had cut out of the rock. He rolled a big stone in front of the entrance to the tomb, and then he went away. Mary Magdalene and the other Mary were sitting there opposite the tomb. The next day, the one after Preparation Day, the chief priest and the Pharisees went to Pilate.
We said, "Sir, we remember that while he was still alive, that deceiver said, 'After 3 days I will rise again.' So give the order for the tomb to be made secure until the 3rd day. Otherwise his disciples may come to steal the body and tell the people that he has been raised from the dead. This last deception will be worse than the first."
Take a guard. Go. Make the tomb as secure as you know how.
So they went and made the tomb secure by sealing the stone and placing the guard.